cracking? Today on Big Builds, we're back to work on a Dodge Charger police car. Today what I plan on getting done is taking the front bumper off, getting it prepped, and start painting it. I'm also going to do the rest of the radiator fill. I'm going to fill the fluid up, let it run through, cycle through. I'm going to leave it outside while I paint. I'm going to pull the car out and just let it sit out there for like an hour running, go check on it occasionally. I also have to hook up my air compressors, and I actually just recently installed a fan. Check that out. That's a really nice exhaust fan. I got it from Harbor Freight, or from Tractor Supply for like $220. And that thing will cycle this air. It actually sucks so much air out that it sucks the heat and all the air out of the barrel heater, and it actually starts pulling smoke out of there. So I actually have to open up these doors and at least crack that and vent that to get that done. So I also bought some rims. I got a really good deal on these rims. They're brand new. The guy worked at the Dodge dealer. They took it off, I think, a Chrysler 300. They're all black. Never even hit the pavement. The guy bought the car brand new. Came in with aftermarket rims. They put it on, told him to keep the rims and tires. Got these for $1,200. Check them out. So those are going to look really good on there. And then we also have to fit the wing on the back. I'll do that later. But I really just want to get this front end painted because this is the only thing that I'm going to paint silver. Then the next step will be taking this light off, filling these holes right here, welding them up, body working them, and I'm going to mask all this off and paint this whole roof black all the way back down here and break a line right here. So that's next. So to begin with, I want to make sure I get this painted because this is the only thing I'm painting silver. So I'm going to get this prepped and painted. I'm going to hook up my compressors. I'll get back to you when I get it rolling. All right, so I got my compressor hooked up, got it filled with air, ready to rock. Got the part over here. I got that up to temperature. I stuck it in front of the heater here and made sure it was up to temp. So that's ready to go. The next thing I'm going to do is take some of this prep all right here, clean the whole surface of the part, and then I'm going to take like 600 grit sandpaper or 450 grit, and I'm going to sand it and just give it a nice rough surface for the primer to stick to. Then after I sand it, I'll prep all it again, and then I'll mix up my primer and I'll go ahead and prime it. I actually have to tape off a piece. Let me show you here. I have to tape, this is part of it, and it actually is supposed to stay like that rough black to match the grill. So I'm gonna tape this off right here so it stays that color. But other than that, it'll be ready to rock. So now I'm gonna get to cleaning it. All right, so I got everything wiped down, taped off, ready to prime. What I got here is a Southern Polyurethane brand, so SPI epoxy primer. If you guys haven't tried SPI, give it a go. I fought with a lot of paints, and this stuff is like foolproof, especially it's designed for people like us working in our garages and stuff without like professional paint booths, to just lay down smooth. Like the clear goes down smooth, everything goes down smooth. So I got that. I got the epoxy primer activator. It's a mix of 1-to-1. That's how you know it's good. And I got a little bit of reducer. So what I do is I mix it up 1-to-1, then I put just a little bit of reducer so that it flows better in my spray gun. And then I have this, just a cheap Harbor Freight spray gun. I use it for primer. And then I'll show you when I get ready to actually paint. I bought a new gun from Harbor Freight that's supposed to be equal to like the $800 Iwata, and a couple people I know got it and they love it. So we're gonna try that. That's what I'm gonna actually lay the paint in a clear with. So before I do all that, I'm gonna take this tack cloth and I'm gonna go wipe down the surface to make sure that all the little dust particles and everything are up off of it. Then we're gonna hit it. Stay tuned. Alright, so that was 2 coats of primer that I did on the bumper. It laid down like glass. It was pretty awesome. I installed that fan over there. This is really the first time that I've painted in like a semi-professional environment. I'm usually was in my old garage when I painted the rat rod and I painted my van, and I didn't have any exhaust at all. So it was pretty nice. I opened up the garage door over there, had a little gap, and then I had that fan going. And as I was painting, if you could see in the video, the fumes were sucking right out the vent. So it was great. Here it is. Here's the second coat. For primer, that's pretty nice. It's probably the nicest primer I've laid down. I'm not by any means a professional painter or anything, but So now what I'll do, you got a little window in here where you can actually just continue to paint. So I'm gonna mix up some paint and just show you. This is the Black Widow gun that I got from Harbor Freight. It's supposed to be really good. They say it's comparable to an Iwata or a SATA that costs like $800 or $900. This was $199 before the 20% discount. Then after the 20% discount at the door, I think it was $160. I haven't used it yet. I haven't even opened it. We'll check it out together. There it is. Wow, that looks a lot different than the cheap one I've been using. So we'll see. I'll set it up and we'll run some paint through it and see how it lays down. Alright, so now I'm getting ready to spray the base coat. And what I got is this Moto base from Automotive Art. They sell this at the same place that they sell the SPI products. And I've sprayed this before. It sprays really good. So you just break this down with reducer. You know, half this, half reducer. And then I got the gun all set up here. It looks pretty dope. So we'll get this sprayed. I'm probably going to do 2 coats of that. I got about enough to do 2, probably a little more, but I'm going to do 2 coats of that. Base coat, and then we'll move on to the clear coat. Alright, so I got both base coats laid down. Looks real nice. There's barely any garbage in it at all. I'm going to be able to wet sand it out. I'm going to move on to the clear coat now. Run 2 coats of clear and call it a day and let it sit overnight and dry and come back and wet sand and buff it in the morning. But here you go. So that new spray gun just laid down beautiful. So I got a short little like 15-20 minute window here, and I just had to clean my gun, and it's almost at that time, so I'm gonna get back to running that clear coat. What's cracking? It's another day here at Big Builds, and I'm back to work on a Dodge Charger police car. Today I'm gonna wet sand and buff the front bumper. Hopefully get all that assembled, get it mounted, put on, maybe start mocking up the wing on the back, see how that looks, maybe start messing with the roof. We'll see what happens. Check it out. The next day, nice and cured. Does have a little bit of trash in it here and there, but I'll wet sand that right out. I'm gonna start and see if I can get away with 1000 grit. I have 1000 grit wet sandpaper I'm going to use that first, see if I can get away with that. If it gets enough of this stuff out, which it should, and then I'll move on to a 1500 grit, and then I'll buff it out, and then we should be done with that part. So I'm not going to concentrate too much on, like, actually I shouldn't have untaped that, but because it's going to get that stuff all over it, I'm going to tape it back up probably. But I'm not going to concentrate on like inside of here, because obviously I can't get my buffing wheel inside of there. So I will do the flat parts that I can get, and then here, the face, and then the top and the sides where I can get, where I can actually buff. But other than that, like, I'm not going to buff this bottom part because you'll never see it. So let's get to it. So that's it for today's episode. I appreciate you watching. If you like it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure your post notifications are turned on. Leave me some comments below. Let me know what you think about the builds. Stay tuned. We're going to do some crazy stuff this year. Peace.